Okay, welcome everybody. Pam Shnia. Welcome Penny, Nancy, Sima, Ruben, and everyone who's here in person. Hi guys, welcome. Okay, all right. So let's get going here. We are in the Chochom and Tam, and anyway, so when we spoke a little bit in depth last week about this aspect of the Chochom that had to do with the ring that he created out of gold, and how the lesson of the ring was this aspect that really everything comes from Hashem. In the words of Rav Kiva, he said, the inyan of the ring is that everything that we see, all the things that people do, that we take something and we try to make it beautiful, and we think that when we work and we do things and we build things and we craft our art and we make our rings and everything and we make it so beautiful that people love it, we think that it's us doing it. And then if people don't like it, we can't understand, how can it be that people don't like the art that I'm creating? How could it be that they don't think it's so beautiful? Remember the Chochom said in Spain, this ring, on the runways in New York, this thing would really go, right? Right? Yes. But these people don't know what they're talking about. But the lesson was that no, you know what? It's Hashem who makes it that certain things are appreciated in certain places. It's Hashem who makes it that in a certain country, in Spain, this ring would be appreciated, but in the place where they were, it wouldn't be so appreciated. And we have to understand that we have to do our best. We have to do our work. But the ultimate outcome and the ultimate acceptance and the ultimate way things are going to go in the world are going to be run by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It made me think today. I was thinking about this as a mashal. I don't know if you guys remember this. I'm sure that everybody will remember this. But just like, I don't know how many years ago it was now, maybe 6-7 years ago, there was this phenomena of a little device called a fidget spinner. Do you remember this thing?
Oh, yeah. I used to sell
the fidget spinner, right? And like this thing took over the world. And everyone was buying them, and everybody was creating them and printing them in different colors and everything. And I remember my kids were little at the time, and it's like we had to go out and buy them a fidget spinner because everyone has a fidget spinner, right? And it was like the latest thing, and people were trying to build Amazon stores to sell them and everything, right? And then like 6 months later, you couldn't pay people to take these things, right? How does that make sense? What's the story? Happened to be there was this one time where there was a certain chein that was shone onto these things. At that time, in these certain places, these things were like the biggest thing in the world. Right? So someone, you can have the same idea the next day and it's not going to go. Hashem said it's not the right time. Right? So we have to keep this in mind, that we just got to do our best to do our part in an authentic way, where we're really putting ourselves forward. We're using our own talents to do the right things. And we have to know that Hashem's going to make it work, or not, depending on what's good for us. That was the lesson that we took last week. So this week we're gonna look at a slightly different view when it comes to this ring that he made, and then we're gonna take a new journey along another aspect of toxic thought and toxic wisdom. So here we go. So the story once again. The Chochom said that if this ring was with this tree on it was in Spania, it was in Spain, it would have been tremendously chashiv, tremendously valued. So he says Rav Kiva, in the Yiddish, the original Yiddish that he wrote it in, it says, "Als das Fingerl mit dem Beimel," this ring with the tree on it, "soll gewesen sein in Spania," if it was in Spain, wollte es sehr chashiv gewesen, it would have been very, very valuable. Sevolt dort gewen a chiddush. Why? Because there it would be a chiddush. it would be something novel. It would be something that had a newness to it, that was fresh and new and novel, a chiddush, right? So this is the new thing that we got to watch out for, is the chiddush, right? The chiddush is the new thing. So usually, by the way, without even reading into Rav Kivak's words over here, in Torah, to make a chiddush in Torah is like a very big thing. You learn, and especially in the yeshivas, you learn and think, if you can come up with a chiddush, something novel, a way to understand the Gemara that nobody else understands, or even better, if you come up with a question that nobody can answer, right? A question that could be a chiddush already. That's just something special. This is fantastic, right? So too, what are we trying to do over here? Are we just trying to do the same thing over and over again? We have a lot of artistic, creative people around the table here today, right? We want to do something that's going to be something that's needed, that's new, that's not there already. Is that wrong? Is it wrong that we should want to make a chiddush? What's the story? Let's read Rav Kivak's words and see, and we're also going to hear some words from Chaim Moran also. Kivak says like this: Inyan ma shebespanya zeh hayeh chiddush. This ring would have been a chiddush, something novel in Spain. Ki echad misharashe yisorei Chochom. One of the roots of all the suffering of the Chochom. One of the roots of the suffering of the Chochom, who shetamid mevakesh liyos chiddush, is that he always wants to be a chiddush. He always wants to be a chiddush. We said in the past about the Chochom, this is a new layer of understanding. We said in the past about the Chochom that he one of the things, he always wants to do things with a big splash. He wants himself to be seen. If it's something that's just under the radar, he's not so interested. If it's going to be something big that people see, then he wants to do it. This is like similar to that, but with a new knech. It's something that everyone's going to see, but it's also something, it's a chiddush. I can say I came up with it, right? It's something that I figured out. Nobody else knew this before me, right? This is a big thing. Ani oise v'ani mechanesh. I'm doing, and I'm being mechanesh. I don't know how to say that in English. I am inventing. V'shakach she'Hashem mechanesh hakol. And he forgot, this Chochom, that Hashem is mechanesh everything. Hashem every single day creates everything anew. Right? Important idea. It's a deep idea. Everyone who's been around a little bit has heard this taught to them in one way or another. That every single day Hashem is mechanesh b'tuvay kol yom ma'aseh bereshis. He recreates the whole entire universe every day, every moment even, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's a little bit of chizuk, a little bit of that we should never allow ourselves to become upset because things have fallen into a certain pattern, or like I'm recreating my patterns that I've done in the past. How can I ever get out of here? Don't worry. It's a brand new universe right now. A brand new universe. Hashem made you didn't exist 2 minutes ago, and now you exist new. You could do whatever you want. You could change the world today, right? Everything's new. You don't have to follow the patterns that we followed in the past. This is one of the beautiful ideas about that he's mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh bereshis, that he creates the world anew every day. Hashem is the mechadesh. Hashem is what makes things new, not me. Right? We have to. Aval mitzad achosam the sitra achra. But this is quoting, by the way, one of Rabbi Nachman's Torahs that we have to get very deep into. That I don't want to get into this part, but the inyan is there. The power of the sitra achra in this way. Yesh ratzon ba'adam liyos chidush v'makor yisurav. We have a certain desire to be this person, to be a chiddush, to be someone who makes something new, to be someone who creates a new splash in the world. And if we have that desire very strongly and we're not accomplishing it, it's a source of suffering. It's a source of suffering. It's a tough thing. I was speaking to someone today who is a person who comes to me relatively often because this person is an idea person. I talked about idea people before. He has all these great ideas, and he's upset because he tells these ideas to people, and he can't get people to come on board with him to make them happen. Right? He's like, I have this beautiful idea. It's a fantastic idea that that people in the Jewish religious community, that you should take kids and you should help them to formulate financial planning ideas for their life and career planning, so that you should teach them to be self-sufficient and all these things. Fantastic idea. Beautiful idea, right? Wonderful idea. But he's upset because he can't, he's told it to people and no one is jumping in and saying, okay, let's do this. Or people aren't coming on board. Right? And so we happened to be learning a similar idea at the time, and I told him, like, who says that you have to do that? Who says you have to make a whole organization about this idea that you just had? Who says you have to make there has to be a building with right at the top of the building the name of this organization that's gonna, like, who says it has to go out to the world like that? Maybe Hashem gave you this good idea because this is how you're supposed to guide your children. Maybe just take this good idea you had and implement it for yourself. Implement it for your children. Maybe someone will ask you advice and you'll say, I thought about this before. I have an idea here. But this taiva, this desire that I have to make a website, I have to write a book, I have to make a whole organization, right? I'm not saying don't do that, but you guys are doing fantastic things, right? But all these things, I know there's people sitting here who are trying to do things like this, which are fantastic, right? Right? But we have to figure this out. We have to figure out what is it, because it doesn't have to be such a big thing. I need to be seen. I need to be a chiddush. I need to be novel, right? Who says? Maybe you just gotta do some good stuff in your own backyard first. I'm not saying that about you guys. Don't worry.
No, agreed.
Right? So let's go a little bit more here. Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Megala Shegam B'Torah, Ein Tzorich Davka L'Chadesh Chidushim. And Rabbeinu is revealing for us over here that even in Torah, where we just explained how it's a big thing, it's fantastic. Rabbi Nachman also talks about the amazingness of being Mechadesh Chidushim in Torah. Coming up with new, novel ideas in Torah. It's something very special. But he's telling us now, you don't have to do that though. It's not the be-all and end-all. Av shebavadai hu inyan gadol. L'chadesh b'Torah. It's a fantastic thing to make chidushim in Torah. Okay, here's going to be the place where we draw the line. Where's the line? Avaloi l'chapes davka es a chidush. But not to be looking specifically for the chiddush. Not that I need to be the person who makes the chiddush. I must find, my goal right now is to find a chiddush. That's the place where you're a smarty pants. That's the place where you're the Chochom, the Tumah. Right? That's where it's not going to work. Because I'm looking for the chiddush. What should I be looking for? I should be looking for Hashem. I should be looking for holiness. I should be looking for kedusha. I should be looking for getting close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And if, as I'm working on trying to get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, through that, I am Mechadesh Chidushim. Amazing. It's fantastic, and it's a high level, and it's very great, right? But to be the guy that always has to be looking for a Chiddush, there's something wrong with that, right? And we could all say, we all understand this, but it's working towards ego, right? It's we're building ourselves up in a false way for whatever the reason is, whether we're, and we speak about this a lot, but it's a mindset of I need to be famous. I need to be famous, right? So there's a thing in Breslov, by the way. There's a thing in Breslov that it's a very big danger, and the big tzaddikim in Breslov are always running away from this, to be called what's called a mefursam shel sheker. That means like a person of fame, but it's all false. Right? Just to be a person who's out there, who everybody sees, and who makes a name for themselves, but there's nothing there. There's no substance, right? Mefursam shel sheker. So there's so many stories. I heard about, I can't remember exactly the details, but like there was one of the old, I remember. I think it was Rav Levi Yitzchak Bender, who was like the This is like, in the beginning of the turn of like in the early 1900s. He was one of the founders of the Breslov community in Mea Shearim. And he came from Russia, I think he was in Siberia, even in Uman and all that, whatever. I don't remember all the details. It's not my koyach. And so I when Rabbi Rosenfeld from America was starting to teach, so he made sure that they recorded all of the shiurim. And they had like old school big cassette recorders, sometimes even reel-to-reel recorders, right? And so they came. He would come multiple times per year, and in the summertime in particular, he would bring a bunch of young American boys from New York, Brighton over there, and girls also, and bring them to Eretz Yisrael for the summer. And they would have like a yeshiva setup. They would learn, and he would bring them to learn in front of this tzaddik, Rav Levi Yitzchak Bender. And I remember, as the story goes, they asked him one time, we want to record the classes, like. And he was like, why? He didn't even know what it was. But then, why do you want to record the classes? And he said, I want to record them so that, we can give them to other people and we can copy them. And many people will get to know about them. And he started yelling, you're trying to make me a Mefursam Shel Sheker. No, I will not have it. Forget it. I don't want people knowing me. I don't want to, right? I don't want to be in that realm of desiring the fame as opposed to just doing what I can do, right? There's other people like this also. Chaim Kramer from the Breslev Research Institute. He gets so upset. I remember if he heard this, he'd be very upset with me. But when he came here a few times, I tried to, he was a guest. He's going to speak, whatever. I tried to say, come sit up at the front of the shul in a nice, honorable spot. He's like, no, I'm fine where I am over here in the back corner. No, thank you. And I was like, come on, please, let's go. And he said to me, he's like, please don't ask me again, or I'm going to leave. It's like, no, I don't want the kavod, I don't want the honor, I don't want any of that, right? So, and some people are like that, right? It's hard to find the right medium. We're here on Breslov Thornhill. We're trying to make shiurim and to bring some helpful Torah into the world, hopefully. But is it good? We're just trying to learn some good Torah together. And when are we trying to get more followers? When are we trying to, I said this over on Shabbos a few weeks ago, that, you could have a person who says, I'm going to go onto Facebook or YouTube or Instagram because I have this important Torah that people have to hear, right? And so then they get going, whatever, and they see they're not getting so many likes or followers or whatever. So they're like, okay, let's, change it up a little bit. And so they bring some guests on. And the guests are, okay, they're not exactly maybe the most, holy people that they want giving over the stuff. But they get a lot of likes. And then, they get other influencers and these people who are, maybe not dressed properly and doing all kinds of crazy things and speaking with terrible language, right? And but they're getting a lot of followers, right? Now, this guy has a ton of followers and a ton of likes and everyone knows about this person, but there's no more Torah, right? There's no more message that's getting across, right? So we all have to know this about ourselves. You're working on a book, and a whole organization and a business and everything, right? Everybody's trying to do something good in the world. When does it go from being, I'm trying to do something good, I'm trying to help, trying to use what Hashem gave me to do good, to I need to be famous. I need people to see what I can do, right? This is something every person has to work through. And this is what we're talking about over here. It's good to make a chiddush, but do I need to be the chiddush? Am I doing it only because I want to be the chiddush, right? So in the Sefer Chaim Moran, it says like this, a beautiful quote. Gam benyani Torah kadosh shamati mipiv hakadosh. So Reb Nosson says, also when it comes to the Holy Torah, I heard from Rabbi Nachman's holy mouth, she'eno maskim al elu halemdim v'hagadolim shreitim daika lahamtzi chadashos. He doesn't agree with these very learned people, gedolim, great rabbis, but that their whole effort is to come up with chidushim, new ways to understand the Torah. Kagoin, eze din chadash, they're coming up with a new halacha, a new din, a new law, based on what they figured out. Or eze hanhaga chadash, or a new minig, a new way to do things. But their intent is not is not really to the ultimate truth. Rak l'hamtzi chadashes. They just want to be able to say, I'm publishing I have a whole entire sefer of my chidushim. And you see, this is what they're called. Chidushay Rav so-and-so. Right? This is what the Sfarim are called. Caveat. There's Sfarim written by tzaddikim that are full of chidushim, once again. And Rabbi Nachman is not saying that such a thing is bad. But if your whole drive is just, I want to publish my chidushim for my legacy, right? That's what we're talking about here. V'amar shehi taiva etzel hagadolim, and Rabbi Nachman said it's a taiva, it's a base desire by the great rabbis, even gedolim, lahamtzi chadashes daika, specifically to be able to publish their novel ideas. V'lehei maskim al zeklal. He did not agree with this whatsoever. Rabbi Nachman, he didn't like this. We don't need to. We don't need to bring out chadashes, new things. Rak ha'ikar she'iyu kavanasai al ha'emes la'amitai. Our intent should be, our focus should be, emes la'amitai, the ultimate truth. Like we said, it's okay to go for chidushim, to find new things. But my goal should be not to find a chiddush, but to find Hashem. Find Hashem. That's what I'm looking for. Right? Like there's this song that a lot of people like by, I think it's David Weinberg, called Only You. It's a very sweet song, and it's based off of a song that the Berditchever Rebbe wrote in Yiddish. But it's basically just everywhere I go, I'm just looking for you. Only you, only you, only you, wherever I go. I'm not singing it, but it's a very sweet song. We should look it up. Maybe we'll try and find it and post it in the group if someone reminds me. Beautiful, beautiful song. Okay, so this is point number 1 for today. It's a taiva, it's a desire that we should find, we should be the ones to bring a chiddush into the world, and we should be the ones who are made famous from our chidushim, right? And it should build our ego, right? This is not where we want to go. Rather, we always want to find, instead of the chiddush, we want to find Hashem. And if while we're looking for Hashem, we find chidushim and we come up with them, fantastic, right? But what's our mindset? Point number 1. Okay, next part of the story. V'chein pam echad ba sar gadol. So another noble person came. V'hevi even toiv yakar, and he brought with him a precious stone. Does anybody know exactly what page we're on here? That we can tell people where we are? So we can find.
207.
Let's see. Sorry guys, 1 second. Yeah. Page 207. 207 in Rabbi Arsh's book. Okay, so this noble person brought a tremendously precious gem stone, Shabal b'merchakim, that came from very far away, a rare stone. V'hevi loy oid even toiv im tziur. And then he brought another precious stone, but this stone had an image carved into it. V'tziva loy, and he commanded to the Chochom, sheyetzayir katzir hazeh al ha'even toiv shehevi, that he should copy that same image that's on this precious stone onto the second precious stone that he brought him, the blank precious stone. V'tzir mamesh ka'osei hatzir, and he did it, Taka. He copied the exact same picture. He was such a craftsperson, he was able to make a beautiful copy onto the second gemstone. Rak sheshaga b'davar echad, but except he made one tiny mistake. Shalei hayashum adam mevin al zeh, that no one else in the world would notice this mistake. Only him. Raku, only him levadai. Uba hasar v'kibol heaven toiv. So the noble person came and took his precious stone, the work that he did, v'yishar beinav, and he was very happy with it. He didn't notice anything. V'yishar beinav. V'ayalei le'chacham hazeh yisurim gedolim min hashigia. But still, the chacham was so upset. He had such suffering because of this little mistake that he made. The guy who made it for it didn't even have any clue that there was a mistake. But the Chacham couldn't take it. He said, how I'm so wise. I'm such a Chochom, he said, if he could only hear his own words. I'm such a Chochom. V'ata yizdamen lishgia. And it happened that I made a mistake. How could someone like me make such a mistake? He couldn't get over it. Right? Anyone identify with this at all?
We don't do that. We don't make mistakes.
Nobody here makes mistakes ever, apparently.
I do.
So I just wanted to say my personal experience in this, which is very funny, is that I like to cook, and I could have the potential that at certain points in my life I could have been labeled a foodie, even against my own current advice. But I like to cook, and sometimes I'm like by far my own worst critic. I get very upset if I'm cooking something and especially if it's a nice piece of meat and it's overdone. Oh my gosh, I'm very upset with myself. Really though, if anyone else is cooking food for me, I'm very happy that they're cooking for me, and whatever, it has to be really ruined for me to not want it. Someone's making food for me. Okay, they make a mistake. No, don't worry about it. It's fantastic. I'm very, very happy. But if I'm doing it, and I ruin it, I even just do something that's a little not right, I'm mamish my own worst critic. It's a bad midah, right? This is what we're talking about over here, right? He made a beautiful stone carving, fantastic, to the extent that the nobility could not tell there was anything wrong with it, and he paid for it and everything, and he can't stand the fact that he made this little mistake. What's this all about? Let's begin to see what's going on here. I just have a few things underlined. We'll skip some parts over here. B'masev and toiv yisurin meshunim me'od. Yisurav meshunim me'od. So with this case of the precious stone, his pain and his suffering is kind of strange over here. It's weird. Shebetzem ein loy bezoynes kan. He's not been embarrassed at all over here. Like everyone else thinks it's perfect. No one else knows anything. Like, what's he so upset about? He himself is chasing himself. He is pursuing himself. He is his own worst enemy, we might say, in our current type of language, right? Right. So too, he says you could have like a magid shiur. Someone's giving over a class in Torah, and there was something that they wanted to say and they forgot about it. Right? It could be that at the end they'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot that. The whole thing is ruined. I am not publishing that on Breslov Thornhill. Forget it. That one's being cut out. Right? Or you could just be like, okay, so I missed that part. Maybe I'll put it in next time. Or, whatever. I'll do my best. Could have been better. Okay, it was the way it was. Gamzu latoiva. Gamzu latoiva. Oh my gosh, Gamzu Latova. Just a quick side story here. My wife made this amazing chicken soup. She's my wife. She started it 2 nights ago, and she cooked it overnight. And the next day, she put some more stuff into it and cooked it more. And it had like an apple in it. It had a beef bone in it. It had all these things, and it was like mamish. It was going really, really good. And she put it out on the deck. We're in Canada, by the way. It's freezing cold outside. It was like it was below 0 Celsius outside. She put it out on the deck to cool down so the fat would congeal. Right? And just like 2 hours ago, my poor wife, she went to look out on the deck, and there were raccoons that had gotten into it, broken open, taken the whole thing, were eating it. And this was like a 36-hour project. She was making this soup, and it has gone. My poor wife, she was so upset. But I'll tell you something about my wife, very good, is that after being upset for a few minutes, she gathered herself together and said, Gamzu Latova. This is also for the best. I don't know why. I don't get it. And she said, what else did she say? It's a kapara. It's a kapara. It's an atonement. And better it should be on the soup than anywhere else. She said this to me in the past sometimes when I got into such a situation. She said to me, Gamzu Latova, and I was like, whoa, thank you for saying that. Because I wasn't ready to think that yet, and you saved me. Right? Gamzu Latova. So that's what you should say. You made a little mistake, and no one else even notices it. right? So okay, gamzul l'tova, no problem. You forgot to mention something in your class, gamzul l'tova. Maybe it wasn't supposed to be said, right?
Wow.
Maybe it wasn't supposed to be said.
I'd be burying raccoons at this moment.
I would have been so angry if it was me. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, so this is a problem. This is a problem that we have over here. V'Rabbeinu ba nerapo yisraisanu bazeh shenira kama hadas nimshach achar agmas nefesh. Rabbi Nachman is trying to give us the medicine over here. He's trying to heal us, and he's showing us how far can our consciousness be drawn into agmas nefesh. Agmas nefesh means, we need to figure out a good translation for this. It means like I'm pained, I'm upset, I'm angered.
Sorrow.
What?
Sorrow.
Sorrow. I'm just like I'm really upset by what's going on. It's really bothering me. Everything that's happening. Agmas nefesh. I'm pained, constantly pained. I'm in sorrow, right? You could see no one cares. Everything's fine. Right? But this guy, it's such in our nature sometimes to be pulled into this type of thinking, this type of consciousness, which is one of the worst parts of the Chochom over here, right? That it can pull us in even when nothing's happened. Nothing's really happened. Yeah? It's terrible. So he says something over here that's important. Now this is in order to understand this, we're gonna have to explain something. It's going to take a few minutes, and we have to get through a couple of points to be able to understand it properly. So stick with me, we'll come up with a good point. So he says that one of the aspects of this particular part over here, the Yiddish word that he uses for the shiur, for the form or the picture that he drew on the stone, has the gematria of Kuf Samech Aleph. Kuf Samech Aleph is one of the holy names of Hashem, one of the miluyim of the Shem Ekyeh, which, if you remember, in Torah Vav, we had over there this name of Kuf Samech Aleph Ksa, right? So that's with one of the gematrias comes out to that. So what does that have to do with what's going on here? She'ikar tziyur be'even toiv, u'mashe tzarich ha'adam lachkoik u'letzayir benafshay Torah mitzvos u'maisem tovim. Because the main lesson we're supposed to learn from this Evan Tov over here is that the real beauty, I don't know what the word is for it, what we're supposed to be imprinting onto ourselves, what we're supposed to be carving, is the way we're supposed to be carving into our souls through Torah and Mitzvos and good deeds, the good things that we do in the world, the good stuff that we bring into the world. This is how we're supposed to carve ourselves out in the world. Kilu, if we could say such a thing. Shuetzir shalachen ha'amiti. This is the form of true chein. So chein is a word that we've had numerous times. It's very hard to translate. Some people translate it as charm or grace, right? But it means the aspect of a person that really draws people in. You know, you have a person with chein is a person that you want to talk to.
Okay, so good energy.
Yeah, good energy is a good way of saying it. Absolutely, yeah, very good energy.
Yeah, like good energy.
Yeah, right. You want to talk to them. If a person with chein asks you to help them, you're like, oh, I'd love to help you. What can I do for you? Right? Like with no question. Right? This is an aspect of chein. A person with chein is someone that you look at and you're just like, oh, this is a wonderful person. Good reputation. People like them. Not a reputation of false good things or just, money or power or whatever. It's just this. Everyone knows this is a great person. Right? This is a long-winded translation of chein. Let's call it holy charm. This is the word. The reason I don't like the word charm is because charm we usually use in a way that it's like trickery. It's false. Yeah, like you used your charm, right, to get right. But no, real, true, proper, holy charm. We're not going to find a good single word for it, but yeah, maybe energy. Okay, this is the true, real chein is when a person totally changes themselves, allows themselves to be totally permeated with all these good things. Torah, mitzvos, ma'asim tovim, right? When they become a person who's just a good person who does good things, right? This is true chein. That's true chein. L'shaber halev ha'even v'liftoyach liboy la'or ha'tmimus u'lechaim tovim. To break through the person's heart of stone, which we had very recently in Likutei Moharan, and through doing that, to opening up into their heart light, the light of tamimus, and chaim tovim, and good life, right? Tamimus. A person, by the way, a person who's a tam, person of tamimus, has this chein. It's like the main characteristic that a person needs to have chein, right? Because you can have someone who's an uber chacham, and even if they're like not this kind of chacham, but just they know a lot, they're really, really, really smart, but they don't have this quality of chein, right? Then you have people. There's a famous rabbi, maybe I think he passed away in the early 90s, called Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. And if you ever saw a picture of Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, he was the biggest posek, the halachic decider in Eretz Yisrael. If you ever saw a picture of him, of his face, he had this like smile that just like, even in pictures, illuminated everything. This is a person that when he walked into a room, like there was a light, something unbelievable. And he was close with, like, he was famous for being close and connected to every kind of Jew, like super religious, non-religious, chassid, litvak, you name it didn't matter, right? And he would give up of his time, and he would do everything. When he passed away, his funeral was like the whole entire city was packed full, because it wasn't just the funeral for all the religious people, like everyone came to this thing. This was a person with the most amazing chein, right? And he was a tzaddik, and he had or upon him and all those Kabbalistic things also, right? But just something to think about. So what's pshat over here? Vahu bechinas shem hakadosh kisa. This is an aspect of this holy name of Hashem, Kuf Samech Aleph, which is this name of Kuf Samech Aleph. Bechinas baki baratzai, which is baki baratzai. So if you remember in Torah Vav, we said that a yid who wants to do tshuva, who wants to come close to Hashem, has to be a baki in two ways. A baki baratzai and a baki b'shayv. He has to know what is our avodah, how do we have to work to get close to Hashem when things are going really well, and I'm on the way up, and I'm on fire, and I have energy, and I'm happy, and things are going good. There's a certain way to serve Hashem. But then there's also a certain way to serve Hashem when I'm just down in the dumps. And it's not the same thing. And I have to know how to navigate my way through these things that we always talk about, through the aliyahs and the yeridas. I have to expect them. I have to know they're coming. I have to remember how to get through them, right? And yeah, I had a good experience this week, but maybe we'll leave it out for now. Right? So baki baratzai means we have to know what to do when I'm in the doing phase, when I have energy and I can do. What do I do? La abedes gufay. I have to work. I have to tan my hide, right? Like the shoemaker. Work through my body. Well, is kadesh lachnia mazoina de gufa, and I have to work on those physical, removing myself from too many physical desires and all these type of things. What am I doing? Uletzayer benafshay or hamidas etoivos. And to carve into myself, just like he's carving out this precious stone, my good character traits. Work on turning myself into a holy person. A person of kedusha, of authenticity, of connection, of Torah and mitzvos and ma'asim tovim. Right? This is what I have to do. This is what's going to make it happen. Right? Is this aspect. So because in the previous thing, when we're talking about the gold ring, what was he doing? Back there, it was a different story. Why? What was the chachma over there that was pulling him down? So he thought he did the stuff, right? I thought, I'm going to take this ring and I'm going to make it beautiful. I'm going to make it nice, and because of everything that I do, people are going to love it. That was the aspect of the gold, right? This is a different thing now over here. V'hemshech hanisoyon hasheni. This new test that he has over here is bechakikas chein al ha'evan ha'tova, is the injection to carve out, to imprint on oneself this aspect of chein, of this beautiful, wonderful energy and charm. Right? What's the story? Ki yesh chein shel emes shu bechinas ksa la'alois b'mailois kedusha. There is such a thing, a true type of charm, a true type of grace and energy that is built by this aspect of this name of Hashem, in where I continually elevate myself to new levels of kedusha, of holiness. Ela she'chochom mevakesh lechakois, which in Yiddish he translated as nachmachen, right? Which means to copy, right? So what's happening over here in the story, right? He has this one beautifully carved stone, and what's he trying to do? This is exactly why he's upset about it. It's because he's not about the work of carving something beautiful out, and of working through himself and building and building and building. He's just trying to copy that thing and make a copy. And if there's a mistake, a tiny little mistake, I'm not happy about it. He's just copying one thing over here. He's copying from another stone to another stone. It's not true chein. It's absolutely false, and it doesn't float. It doesn't hold water, right? There's two mashalim that don't work together, right? You don't want the thing that's holding water; it probably doesn't float. But anyway, it doesn't stand up, right? So a person of real chein is a person who's put work in, and who comes out the other side as a person of authenticity, as a person of you see growth, who knows themselves, who's worked through things, who's figured things out, who's tried hard, who's put in effort. That person, as soon as you begin to talk to them, you can see that there's something special, right? This guy, he's just trying to make the chitzonius. He's just trying to put on a costume to look like that person. He's just trying to copy. That's it. Asher be'emes. Because by the chein of kedusha, it has to be true, has to be real. Without ever just trying to make one stone look like another. It's about, I know how many times we can say this. This came up in Shal Shudis. This line that we say very often, you could say it to answer anything, right? And people will be happy. It's about the journey, not the destination. Right? You could use that in any conversation. People will think you're something special. But for real, it's about the journey, meaning it's about doing the carving and working through it in an emistic way. It's not just about making a copy of something else. Right? It's about that carving. Ella, she'achochom hashakran yedeya rak lachakos. This chochom, he's false, he's a liar. He only knows how to copy. He doesn't have within himself any chein whatsoever. So what's the main thing over here? I don't know. I wrote a star by this over here, so this is going to be important. This really is the only true, actual chein. What is it? Tamimus v'yashrus. Tamimus v'yashrus. Tamimus is tamimus, which we're talking about all the time. Simplicity, we're sort of calling it. And yashrus means like being an upright person. Being an upright, authentic person. It only a thing can only have chein when it has shleimus. So think about everything we learned about the Chochom and Tam so far. Right? This is like one of the main points, is that everything the Chochom does is for some reason that is somehow false. I want everybody to see me, right? I'm not happy. I don't want to look at what I'm doing right now because I need to be somewhere else that doesn't even really exist yet. I just have to figure out where I'm going, not here. How can I be better? I can't be with these people because I'm better than them somehow, right? It's all false. It's all this. It's strange. Whereas the Tam is just he's always truthful. Every day, he's doing something simple, and he's finishing it, and he's accomplishing it. He makes his shoes, and he sells them, for the price that he thinks is an okay price. Other people say, but you should charge more for your shoes. Other people are doing more. What does he say? I don't care what other people are doing. I don't need to look at other people. I'm doing what I need to do here. I'm doing good things, and I'm doing it every day, right? And this is me. I don't need to worry about that person or that person or that person, because if I'm trying to be like them, it's false. I need to do what I have to do for my own avodas Hashem. Right? This is it. That's why Tamimus is so sweet, right? And everything that he does is authentic. So the Tam, every single day of his or her life, right? What are they doing? They're just becoming more in touch with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, more in touch with themselves. There's no falsehood. Everything is real. Everything is real, right? Every conversation is real, you know? And so when you speak to such a person, you feel like you're really talking to someone who's authentic, who's been there, who's gone through it, who knows, who's being truthful, who's not, no agendas, no nothing, you know? It's a very special Indian. So this is the lesson over here of this particular thing. He just wants to be a copier, whereas the Tam is actually doing the carving of himself. He's working through things on his own. Yep. The Chochom is looking for the chein of Hevle Olam Hazeh. The chein of Hevle Olam Hazeh. Whereas the Tam is the opposite. He's looking for reality. So it's this idea of false chein versus authenticity is the main point over here. So let's we've been on Zoom now for 54 minutes. So let's just do a quick recap over here of these two main points, and we'll hold it there and see where it takes us next time. So the first thing we said over here is the Indian of Chiddush. Once again, it's all about authenticity with the Tam. The Chochom wants to do things with a Chiddush. That's why Rabbi Nachman used the word that in Spain, this thing would go, people would love it. Why? Because in Spain it would be a Chiddush. You country bumpkins over here in the middle of Ukraine don't know what you're talking about. If we took this to Spain, they know. And it would be a Chiddush over there. They would love it. Right? Okay, but nobody cares. Nobody cares about your Chiddush over here. This is Rabbi Nachman trying to teach us. The Chiddush is not good unless it comes through an authentic means. Right? We can be mechadesh beautiful ideas. We can be mechadesh divrei Torah. We can be mechadesh inyanim, programs, books, organizations, anything that's going to help people. Right? But it's only positive if it's because, as a result of us looking for Hashem, as a result of us looking to help, looking to do good, be'emes, authentically, something comes out that's a Chiddush. Fantastic. That's great. Right? But it has to be that's what we're looking for. I'm looking for Hashem. I'm looking to connect with people. I'm looking to help. I'm looking to do good things. And we have to all be, if you remember, in Torah Chaf Hey, Rabbi Nachman tells us that in his Poeditus, it's important that we judge ourselves. Right? We generally, in Breslov, don't like using the word judge. But when it comes to looking at ourselves, we have to take time every day. A little bit of time, he says. Not too much, because if we judge ourselves too much, we get negative, right? We got to take some time, and we got to look at ourselves and really think about these things and talk to Hashem about them and figure out, because he says over there the famous words, Ki im ein din lamata, yesh din lamala. If there's no judgment down here, then there's going to be judgment from up there. If we look at ourselves and we say, we really, in an authentic way, we speak to Hashem, we talk about ourselves, Hashem, I'm doing something now. Am I doing it because I want people to like me? Am I doing it because I want to be a mefursam shel sheker, because I want fame? Am I doing it because I want people to notice that I'm good? I want approval. Whatever. What? Validation. I want validation. Right? Am I doing it for these reasons? Right? Or am I doing it because I really want to help? And I have to be honest with myself. There's no point in lying when I'm talking to Hashem about these things. Am I doing it for the right reasons? And if I'm not, which probably we'll find out that everybody is to some extent not doing it for the right reasons, right? All of us, right? So I have to think about that. I have to talk about that. I have to work on that. I have to daven that. I have to do everything I can to put that into the right path. Yeah? Authentically. Then I am doing the work of the Tam and not the work of the Chochom. So this is the first thing. Am I trying to be a chiddush? Am I trying to be famous? Am I trying to do everything just so people see me? Right? And what's the second point? The second point is the aspect of true chein versus false chein. True spiritual charm versus sheker chein, the false charm. And that means that a person can only develop real chein, real positive charm and energy and grace through really truly working on oneself. Torah, Mitzvos, Maisim Tovim, character traits, midos, hispoidedus. I did all these things. I really am trying to work on myself. Through this, I can become a person of authenticity, and a person that when people see, they know. They just know, right? It works. They see. They can see. And it's something that we should all aspire to. We should all aspire to break through and to get a little bit deep and to start figuring out where we're putting up these barriers. Where are we not true to ourselves? Where are we not authentic? Where are we being false and putting up barriers? And in Mitzvah Hashem, we'll find it. I want to just say quickly that the tools that we use for these things, right, always are, I need the Eitzah, the advice from the Torah of Rabbi Nachman. I need to take it and go and talk to Hashem in His Poidedus. I need to daven. And I need good, trustworthy rabbis and friends that I can talk to. And work through these things together. And with these combination of things, I have a chance to really achieve some of this authenticity. Mitzvah Hashem, we should be Zoicha.